Alright gang, it's only Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. I just got home. Past couple of weeks last week we did the chicken yakitori skewers right out of that Japanese book. I think before that, what did we do? Something Chinese. We've been doing all these recipes that I've been either looking up, cobbling together online, or out of cookbooks, which I love to do. But I think I've mentioned before in past episodes, my favorite thing is total fly by the seat of your pants, wing it improv. And that's what I'm doing tonight because it's Tuesday. Wednesday is when I generally do my bulk of the grocery shopping for each week. I pick up odds and ends here and there, quick stop on the way home. But Wednesday night, I generally hit Adams and do my main week shopping. So that's tomorrow night. So I have a few things left over from last week, and let's go over. I got them out on the marble and take a look and decide what we're gonna do. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
So I got more work to do outside, and I thought I would light that. I moved that little smoker kettle over close to the house, and I'm kind of digging it. I've cooked on it twice already, so it's still sitting there. I'll gather up a little more wood, start a fire, and grill out there again. It's a nice evening for a Tuesday. Now, this says little neck clams, northern wild, but that's not little neck clams. I don't know why they labeled it that way. Hake. It's a nice white fish. That's too small, so let's put it in this bowl. It's a nice big piece too. It's almost a pound. Maybe I'll bring this for lunch tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I have the hake, and I have some leftover teriyaki from last Sunday's Japanese show. This is what I like to do. You need to use this stuff, right? I don't want it sitting in my fridge for the next 3 months. We mixed it up last weekend. So let's take this. I'm going to save a little. Oh, it's going to be on the fire. What am I saving? We'll brush with that after it marinates. And then I have my miso. This has some shelf life. It's been in the fridge, but we're going to do like almost a miso glaze after this marinates. So I can go out to the yard, get a few things done. Let this it's still a little frozen in the middle, and I usually thaw by putting in a bowl of cold water. So we'll let it thaw in here and soak up a little of this beautiful teriyaki that we made last Sunday. So since I'm starting the fire, what are we gonna have with our hake? I've got some asparagus. Again, store-bought. I keep checking. I'm gonna weed the asparagus beds tonight. Hopefully they're going to start producing within the next 2 weeks. But I'm going to cook a bunch of this, maybe even all of it. Because again, look at the size of that piece of fish. I could be killing lunch today. Just bring it to work. I don't really like nuking food, but at work, nuke it up. And then I have the nice little baby bok choy. Okay, I'll rinse that up a little. And I think that's a nice little grill fest for tonight. What do you think? And then while I'm out there, while the fire's hot, I'm not going to eat this tonight, but I have a red bell pepper. So I might as well roast that and steam it so the skin can come off. Gets that nice smoky wood flavor on it, and I'll have roasted red peppers. Not bad for the night before grocery night. I think that's pretty good improv. So just gonna let that soak. I'm going outside, I'll start the fire, and I'll see you when we're ready to start cooking. Meanwhile, I'll be doing a few things. Change of plans. Not a change in the meal plan, just a change in the cooking method. I just got in, it's 7:40, what was it? It was like 6:04. So I've been out there for a good hour and a half at least. Got a good amount of stuff done, and some neighbors came by, had a little chit chat with them. I don't know how old hours now, 7, maybe going on 8. I'm not even sure, but I got to keep on his good side because I'm hoping he's going to be mowing my lawn in a few years. So we had a nice talk. He wanted to check out the birds. I got the asparagus all hoed out. It was getting a little weedy. No fence work tonight. I put a few stones in going down the middle of the garden, but mainly wanted to get that asparagus bed weeded out with the hoe. Watered the garlic, watered the peas. So, and while I was out there, it's a beautiful evening, but it's a bit on the windy side, and it's also really, really dry. I actually saw on the weather app on my phone a fire alert earlier today, so I didn't want to mess with the wood fire. Even though it's inside the kettle, no sense playing around. It's a little windy, so I'm going to prep it all up the exact same way, but instead of the kettle, you know I love my wood smoke on my food, but we're just going to pop it in the good old toaster oven. Or maybe the oven. Let's see how big it is when we package it up. So let's do that on the marble. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
I've got the oven turned on, warming up to 375. And so let's make our little miso glaze. And I'm going to start with 1 egg yolk. I think I got this from that same book. I didn't go back in and look at the recipe, but I think there was a miso glaze in there that used an egg yolk. And if there isn't, I'm doing it anyway. So a little egg yolk gives it like a nice creaminess. Let's put some miso in there. You don't need too much. What is that, a couple tablespoons maybe? 1, 1.5. Let's go with a little more because we got the egg yolk in there. And now let's drizzle in. I love this miso. A little bit of our marinade. This, remember, was the teriyaki. So it's got chicken stock, mirin, and soy. Let's mix that all up. And once we see our consistency, we can decide if we want to thicken it, we'll add miso. If we want to thin it, we'll add more teriyaki. Trying to learn from past episodes, I tend to obscure the vision when I get my arms in here. So I'm trying to learn to let you see what's going on. There we go, while I spill it all over the counter. Okay, that's looking pretty good actually. I think maybe I put too much teriyaki. It's a little on the thin side. So let's go with a little more miso. I'm due for some new miso anyway. This stuff has a nice shelf life because it's fermented. But that's been in the fridge for quite some time. So I might as well use it up. Okay, now it's got a nice consistency. So, originally I was thinking foil. Now let me check this out. And yes, I'm aware that there's raw egg yolk in there. So don't try this at home if you're not comfortable. Oh, what a great flavor though. Yeah. Okay, so now, I guess I'm not roasting that over the wood fire, eh? I'll pop it in the oven anyway. So I was thinking about using foil, but I decided at the last minute, since we're going in the oven and not on a wood fire, we're gonna go in papillote. All right, we've done this before. Parchment tape. So let's take our fish. I'm just gonna leave the teriyaki right on it. Let's go, that would have been the skin side before it came off, so let's go that side down. Take our miso. I haven't tried this hake yet. It looks like a nice piece of white firm fish. Hopefully it'll flake off. All right, miso with the egg yolk and teriyaki. I'll put a little more on because the rest has to be thrown out because of the egg. So we'll coat it real good. Now I washed up my bok choy. Let's put that on. A few asparagus. I already snapped them. You know the deal about asparagus. Let it tell you where it wants to break. No cutting them, just take it. That's history. I know it seems like waste. I mean, you could make those into a soup, but I find they're a little stringy. Let's put the asparagus. Everything's washed up real nice. And I'm just gonna take my tablespoon, or this big spoon, and just drizzle a bit of the teriyaki on our veg. Because that's also going down the drain. It's had the fish soaking in it. And I did take out my sesame seeds. I think I'll toast a few, but that'll be a garnish at the end. There's no sense putting them in here to cook. And then, just because I love it so much and I need a new jar of this, the sesame oil. Just drops of it. Okay. Take our parchment here, fold it up. I'm going to turn it because it looks like some liquid could spill out and I don't want it on the floor. So let's do it like this. Seal this long edge like so. And then take it. Normally I'd go under like if I was wrapping a package, but we don't want our liquid coming out like that. It's leaking. Okay, so I got a trick for that. Watch. I'm going to use this baking dish, which is a little big, but the other one that I would have used is up there with the, I'm using it for some seedlings. Got the artichoke plants in it. So, now we're going to take this twine. Now this is not cooking twine. You'll see it has a little dye in it. But I don't have any cooking twine at the moment. And since we're not going in a wood fire, but we're just going in the oven, I think we're cool. As my baby sister would say, you got to make do. So go like this. And I don't have to be super tight about it. What I want to do, the main idea with this papillote is you want to keep the steam inside the package. And you don't want the liquid leaking out. So we'll give it one of these, like so. Make sure I get that flap. Now let's go under. That's the oven. Told you before, it's a little noisy, but I love that oven. So that's good. That ought to keep it closed up enough for cooking. And oven's coming up towards 375. As soon as it's up, we'll pop that in. 375, let's do this. I didn't expect to be eating this late on a Tuesday night, but I don't know. I'd say I'll give it 20, 25 maybe. Open it and take a look. If it needs a quick broil, we'll do that. See you in 20. I said 20 minutes, but I thought about it after the fact. And I left it in for much longer, closer to 45. Because I thought about it. It was a good chunky piece of fish. And it's inside the parchment. Let's take a look and see what happened. Like I said, there's always the broiler if need be. But almost 45 minutes. Let's take a look. Certainly smells good. Now, anytime you're opening something like this, be real careful. There's going to be steam, okay? I'm using these utensils. Try not to get my hands directly over. See the steam coming out? All right, veggies look great. First thing I want to do is check the center of this fish and see if we need to put it back in. Oh, it's flaking beautifully. Cutting it right down the middle because I can take half for lunch. That's cooked. That is perfectly cooked. Flaky and delicious. All right, let me plate this up. And I had that, like I said, it was a nice big piece of hake. So I have lunch tomorrow. Miso dressing is phenomenal. All right, so let me take this piece. Get it on a platter. Let's get some veg, asparagus, and bok choy. I'm not used to eating this late, but I've been snacking on these freshly sprouted mung beans. Okay, and in the bottom of the parchment, there's a good amount of the dressing. Let's not let that go to waste. And I think, just for presentation purposes, for color, don't forget, we still have our good old kimchi in the fridge. Nicely fermented. So let's get a little bit of red on the platter. Orange, those carrots. All right, supper time. Almost 9 p.m. on a weeknight, Tuesday night. Now, let's garnish this up with the lightly toasted sesame seeds. Veg could use a little of those too, can't hurt. And let's dig in, see what we got here. Hake, steamed in parchment with a miso, egg yolk, and teriyaki glaze. Oh. How many times do I talk about improv dinners? This reminds me of the black cod and miso at Noble. Trying asparagus. Yeah, remember I put a few drops of sesame oil? And I love baby bok choy roasted. In this case, it's a little more steamed inside the parchment. But you see how the thin sort of papery part on top gets charred? It's caramelized. I love that. Oh yeah. Said it before a million times. I'll say it as many times as I have to. The improvisational dinners. You don't know how they're going to turn out. But if you use your techniques, think about your flavors, what you have, you can put together the best meals of your life this way. And honestly, I love this fish. It was an impulse buy because it was on sale and it looked good. I usually buy fish by how it looks, less so than price, but this was a double winner. Great piece of fish. All right, we'll see you for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.
But you see how the